everybody, welcome back. Today I want to talk to you about trust in the workplace and why we really need to have trust in the workplace. Today we're going to talk about a few things. Basically, the 3 questions that everybody asks when they meet with us. You know, the factors that go into building trust that we typically, don't think about. We're also going to talk about the trust equation that I've created to help people really understand and how to build trust with others quickly. And then finally, we're actually going to talk about the fact that there's an outcome that actually hits the bottom line, especially in business, of what trust does for us. So let's go ahead and get started. So basically, when people meet with us for the first time, they're asking 3 questions. And the first one is, do I like you? The second one is, do I trust you? And number 3 is, how can you help me? If we can't answer those 3 questions to a customer or anybody that we're meeting with in the workplace, well, we're not going to build trust. It's not going to happen. So we have to definitely build trust and likability, which, people have talked about for years as rapport, basically. But if we don't build those things, not going anywhere with anybody. So let's start answering some of those questions. Number 1, do I like you? Well, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. Obviously, the first one is if you act like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh, where you're constantly just, down and moping around, well, people aren't really going to want to talk to you. The other thing is if you're like an engineer. I grew up and went to college and became an engineer, got into sales. I had to work on my likability because I was like, just the facts, just the facts. But we really have to work on being likable, because if we're going to work with other people and they don't like us, they're not going to work with us, or at least not very well. So we want to be likable. Well, here's a few things outside of our control that typically we don't focus on. One is your environment. So if you're talking to somebody for the first time and you're in a noisy environment like a subway or a high traffic area, chances are people are really not going to like you that much. I know it stinks to think about, but really what ends up happening is they associate you with loud, obnoxious, distracting noises. The second thing that affects people and how they like us and how they come to us is the colors we wear. So in sales and in the sales training I teach, I talk about the different colors and how they affect people. There's reasons why the presidents wear certain colored ties and suits and whatnot to show authority. And if you're really meeting somebody for the first time and you want to build trust, the colors you wear can actually turn them off. Just to give you an idea, I'm wearing a light blue shirt. There's a reason for it. It actually helps build relaxed, and trustworthiness is associated with the light blue color. And some of the other colors that are out there too can actually build on authority and likability. So you have to focus on what you're wearing when you first meet with people. So if you're a new boss and you're going to meet new employees for the first time, think about what you're wearing and how you want to come across to those people. Another one is scents. What scents are you wearing? Now, I got a huge education on colognes and whatnot when I was in St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands a few years ago. I mean, there was like this huge wall of different colognes and perfumes and all that stuff out there. In that training that the person gave me, they said everybody associates scents different ways. So if you're a sportier person, you want to wear this kind of scent. If you're more of a really touchy-feely kind of person, you wear this kind of scent. If you're in touch with your feelings, you wear this kind of scent. Well, here's the deal. The scents that I wear may not react well with somebody associating their sense of what that scent really is. So to give you an idea of, more citrusy scents actually are more vibrant and outgoing, and more spicier scents are like people who are, go out and do sports and whatnot. Well, some people really don't like those scents. They can actually turn them off. Now, if you really think about it, if you've gone into a department store pre-COVID and went and looked at the different lighting they had in the area and the different sounds that they were playing, they actually pipe in different smells into those environments. And, realtors have often, made cookies and put those in the oven because it fills the whole house up with something that people go, ooh, that smells great. And it makes them more engaged and want to be in that area. So the scents that we wear can actually affect how we come across to people. So we want to make sure that we're focused on those things. Now, the other aspect that I want to talk about right now is distances. There's different trust levels for different distances. So if you're in a shopping mall or an airport and you're walking around and talking to people or seeing people, you're typically, you're kind of aware of your surroundings, but your trust levels don't have to be on high alert. You're not walking around, you're not a secret agent. I mean, if you're a secret agent, maybe you have to keep heightened alert system and not trust anybody. But for the most part, when you and I are walking around, your trust levels aren't that much because people aren't in your personal space. But as you get closer into the environment and people get into your bubble, then you have to give them a lot more trust. And you saw that with, one of the presidential, candidates where he violated that trust with people he's never met before, where he, kind of put his hands on their shoulders or got up closer to those people, and it made them uncomfortable. Well, it's because you're in the comfort zone and you haven't earned that trust level. So we want to make sure that we're obeying the comfort zones and the trust levels. Just to give you a secret here, a lot of salespeople will take customers out to sporting events because you don't have to give that much trust, but you can build relationships on or at those events with your customer easy because they don't have to give so much trust to you, but you can go share a fun event or drinks and stuff like that with a customer and build a relationship. There's a high payoff to it, low trust entrance. That's why salespeople typically want to go out and take their customers out of the office because, they can build relationships easier and under the radar, and they don't have to have high levels of trust with them yet. Just give you a little tidbit. Now, the third thing I want to talk about today is the trust equation. And I'll break down the variables for you here in this video, just to give you top level stuff. And that way you can apply those as you're working with people and, generate trust pretty quickly. So here is the first variable. Variable number 1 is credibility. Now, most people understand what credibility is. Typically, they associate it with going to school or studying 10,000 hours, and now I'm a credible source. And that's true. But there's another way to become credible. I'm going to tell you right now. It's called being the bridge. Basically, you're linking two people together. So if this person's looking for a question to be answered and you can bring them to another source and you link them together, you become credible. It's been proven out that by linking those two people together and being that common ground there, that bridge that they can walk to each other, you're going to become a credible source. And I do more of that in my trustworthy training that I have online and really start breaking that down. Now, the next one is reliability. Simply put, it's doing what you said you're going to do. It's pounded in my head a long time ago, but it reigns true. If you want to be consistent and thought of as credible and trustworthy, you got to do the same thing when everybody's watching and when no one's watching. So focus on that one. Now, the third one, and most guys stick with me here, is vulnerability. Yeah, that's right. Got to be vulnerable. And it's actually a huge part of the trust equation. See, vulnerability is actually like the compound interest. And when you think about your retirements, how the compound interest really takes your retirements up high, vulnerability will allow you to do the same thing. Vulnerability actually is not just sitting there showing your feelings and crying on a couch like a psychiatrist usually is pictured when guys think of vulnerability. It's actually just sharing. Hey, I don't know this, but I'm going to help you walk through this. We're going to figure it out together. I don't know all the answers yet, but I will work with you, being transparent and open. That's what vulnerability really is. Okay, so we've gone through credibility, reliability, vulnerability. Now, there's a fourth variable in there, and it's selfishness. That's right. You can be credible, reliable, and vulnerable, but if you're only out for your own gain, guess what's going to happen? You're going to erode any kind of levels of trust. If you're stepping on everybody's head and you're credible and reliable, guess what's going to happen? They're not going to trust you. So, if you want to build trust, you got to focus on those four variables. Now, to wrap all of this up in this video, here's what we need to focus on about trust. In high trust environments, you can say the wrong thing and people understand what you mean. So, when you have a high trust environment, you got the benefit of the doubt, basically. Here's the other thing of why it works. When you have a very high trust environment, speed goes up, costs go down, because people are actually knowing how you're going to function and what you're going to ask for, and you're going to give them trust to do the same things that they would normally have to come and ask you. But in a high trust environment, they know what you would say. They'll go off and do it. So speed goes up, costs go down, profits increase. So yes, you definitely want to have a high trust environment and focus on these things because it's going to hit the bottom line and make you more profitable. All right. If you have any other questions, reach out below. I got some links down below this video and I'm here for you. See you next time.